Arkansas spring practice is set to begin here in the next few days, and depending when you're watching this video, it might already be underway. But today I want to take a few minutes and talk about the backup quarterback competition that will be going on with Arkansas this spring ball and probably throughout the offseason, right? And if you rewinded to this time last year, we were talking about who was going to win the starting job, right? Now that's no longer the case because Arkansas is one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football, not just the SEC, but who's going to back him up and who's going to get those number 2 reps, I think is up in the air. And just communicating with several Arkansas fans, it's a topic that seems of interest. And I haven't been able to find a ton of info out lately talking about the backup competition or who's going to be the backup quarterback. And I think we'll see more of that with spring ball rolling around the next few days. But I want to take a few minutes and just kind of talk about the candidates and that it is something that we will follow. So, of course, we got Malik Hornsby, Lucas Colley, right? Make sure I'm not messing that up. Yeah, Lucas Colley. Cade Renfro, who was injured in December. I believe it was a knee injury. And so I don't think he'll be back for a decent while till, the fall camp rolls around. If that. And then we got the transfer quarterback, Cade Fortin from South Florida, who I do not believe is enrolled yet. Maybe I'm wrong. Someone correct me. But from what I've looked up and read, I'm not going to talk about that because I actually don't know if he's there or not. But regardless, we're going to spend today talking mainly about Lucas Colley and Malik Hornsby. So Hornsby, who was the backup last year, highly touted quarterback. Anyone that's watched this channel before knows I am high on him. And I'm high on Colley too. Just because they're Texas guys, and I'm biased towards Texas. But let's talk about Malik Hornsby. I don't want to say anything you already know, right? You already know he's a stud athlete. You already know he's one of the fastest players on the team. He's a track star. He can absolutely fly. But at the same time, he had limited exposure last year or limited playing time, right? When KJ went out against A&M in the second half when he kind of dinged up his leg, and then he got some playing time against the FCS school. I forget who they played. It was a blowout, and then some playing time with Independent State and some stuff here and there. and I think from talking to the Arkansas fan base, there was, I don't know if disappointment's the right word, but he didn't play kind of up to par, at least passing wise, of what people wanted to see. And I think that's a few reasons why he did not do that. So I think it's a bit unfair to be too critical of those situations because the whole week, that game plan, the offensive staff game plan to have KJ Jefferson in. If Malik Hornsby was the starting quarterback, the game plan would have been different. They would have game planned and schemed differently, and it would have fit more his tool set than what they had KJ do. So I think just remembering that and not basing your thoughts on Malik Hornsby just off of the second half A&M game or the FCS game, right? Now, in the Penn State game rolled around, you saw some explosive plays. You saw his ability to get out on the Penn State game. So I think that's definitely an option. That's probably I don't want to assume what coaches said. Whenever he was brought in from the transfer portal, I'm assuming they talked about, I don't know if they talked about packages or how he would be used this year, but I'm assuming that conversation has happened at some point, and so it was attractive enough to come back. So regardless if he has different roles and different positions, I still think he's probably the favorite to win the number 2 job, and I wouldn't put too much stock into how he performed against A&M the second half. The simple fact, Arkansas game plan for KJ to be in it the whole time. So you threw Malik in with a game plan that wasn't probably fit for him. Now, with that said, you still would probably want to see him perform a bit better, but I still think the talent's there. I still think he's probably being developed, and I still think he's got a pretty high ceiling. So if he can come in, if he wins the starting job, he's learning from KJ, that sets Arkansas up nicely for the 23 season, right? So, again, highly talented guy. Let's talk about Lucas Colley, who I was able to watch some film this morning. He was a guy I liked coming out of high school, right? He was in the San Antonio area, not too far from actually where I reside here in the Hill Country in Austin. But he's a guy who was the number 9 dual threat quarterback in the country, according to ESPN. Number 59 prospect overall out of Texas, according to ESPN. So pretty high recruit coming in out of high school, and this was only his first year in the system, right? I believe, 2021 he enrolled early, so this was his first year in the system, so this will only be his second year in college, right? So good developmental year 1, and now he's probably planned to take the next step and not just compete for the number 2 job, but be the number 2 guy, right? So let's see, what else okay, so out of high school, like we said, pretty highly recruited guy. Picked Arkansas over Tech, Tennessee, Houston, amongst others. So systems that pass the ball and spread it out, but also like having a dual threat quarterback. So Colley's going to be probably more like how KJ is, right? Wants to rip it and throw, but can also run if needs to. Of course, Hornsby's going to be that more, I won't say track athlete. He's got that track athlete speed that pairs along with his ability to throw the ball. So I think the competition is probably between those two guys, at least starting off the bat, at least during spring practice, who's going to be the number 2 guy. And I think whoever wins, I think it could be a good sign for Arkansas fans. If Malik Hornsby wins, that's great. It means he developed. It means the coaches still believe in him, and they're developing some packages for him. If Lucas Colley ends up winning the number 2 job, I still think that's an okay. I still think that's a good thing moving forward. That could mean potential things. One, it could mean Colley's pretty damn good, and he's taking some steps, and he's the guy who's going to be grooved and kind of groomed to take over for KJ. And it could also mean that Hornsby, with his ability to make plays, is going to be in different packages or on the field in different positions. And so you need another number 2 guy besides Hornsby, right? So I think whoever wins, I think it's a positive situation. No, real quick, Cade Renfro, the transfer from Ole Miss, correct? Right? I believe that's true. We'll have to ask Ty Hudson from Pig Trail Network to check on that for me. But I believe it was the ACL in December. I just know it was a non-contact knee injury, so he won't be in the spring. He'll be out, so he'll be behind the 8 ball, right? But I don't think that means he's completely out of the competition. I just think it means he'll be delayed, and if he does end up making a push for that number 2 spot, it won't be till later on in the offseason or even sometime at the beginning of the season, right? That could certainly happen. And then with the quarterback from South Florida coming in, Cade Fortin, I think he was committed to A&M originally at high school, went to North Carolina, had a few starts, I believe, until Sam Howell came in and took over, then transferred to South Florida. Now finds himself at Arkansas. So again, I don't even know if he's here if he's even enrolled yet or if he'll start in the summer. Someone can probably correct me, but I'm not going to rule him out just yet. He's got some experience. He's a guy that can throw the ball, big arm. He was the games I watched in North Carolina, pretty good athlete, can move some, right? So there is some potential there too, but I think at least right now, kind of how I'm viewing things, which take it for its worth because I'm just some guy on YouTube, not in the coaches' meetings. I believe it comes down to Hornsby and Lucas Colley right now, and then of course anything else could happen. But those are the 2 guys I'm looking to watch for during camp, and I think you'll see more and more reps from the backups for the simple fact they need to find who the number 2 guy is. I know KJ had some minor surgery this offseason, but Pittman yesterday in his press conference said he shouldn't be limited. So that's a good thing, one, but I also would imagine that they give him some rest, not because he needs it, but because they want to see who the number 2 guy could potentially be. But at the same time, you'll see KJ throwing it to Hazelwood and getting that kind of connection as well. But anyways, those are my thoughts on the backup competition for Arkansas, backup quarterback competition for Arkansas, at least right now before spring ball even starts. So again, if you're watching this after spring ball starts, maybe stuff has developed and maybe some guy has already taken the lead. So maybe it's outdated, but we'll keep up with this and we'll try to maybe do an update every week or so on the Arkansas backup quarterback competition. But I want to hear your thoughts. Who do you think is the favorite? Who do you want to see? What do you think each guy needs to do to kind of separate himself? Let us know in the comments below. If you like the video, please consider subscribing, interact with us. That's how the channel grows, and it really does help the YouTube whatever algorithm, right? So anyways, subscribe, like the video, all that fun YouTube stuff. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'll see you next time on the next quarterback related video.